fish taken on the Savage Gear. Hello, my name is Dalien, and before watching the clip I just want to say a few words about this new Savage Gear lure called the Real Eel. So Savage Gear is always coming up with the exciting lures, but this one is one of the best ever made, and there are a few reasons for that. We all know that grub tail lures are really excellent for pike fishing, and the Real Eel took that concept to extreme. So why is that? The tail of this lure is extremely long and responsive. So you have 20, 30 and even 40 centimeter lure, and almost half or even more length of the lure is the tail. And this tail is extremely responsive and works extremely good even at the slowest pace of retrieve. This bait has this one design feature that makes it like really stand out between all the grub tail lures on the market, and that is the curve in the tail of this lure. So what this angle in the root of the tail does is makes this tail extremely responsive, because if you retrieve it real slow, the hydrodynamics will make this tail flutter immediately. And one other thing is that this lure is a great casting lure, because on the cast this angle will keep the tail away from tangling with the hooks. So you can basically throw it like the whole day and have maybe 1 or 2 tangles. The other feature of this lure that is made from extremely quality rubber. So this rubber is, although responsive, thin, it's really good, and the pike cannot bite it easily. I mean, this lure has caught 10, maybe 15 pikes and had maybe as many bites, and it's still fishable. So one tip you do when rigging this lure is I always glue it with a super glue to the head of the lure, which makes it pike hard to pull it off. So the way you will rig this lure is I do it always with a jig head, and there are 2 basic ways of rigging it. The first one is by using a treble hook and a shrink tubing. So what you do is put a shrink tubing onto the hook and thread it on the jig head. You put it here. You always look that the hook perpendicular to the eye goes into the tail of the hook, in the tail of the body. So you just put it like this, and this is a great way of rigging the 20 centimeter or even the 30 centimeter lures. The bigger lures, however, maybe it's better to hook them with a small trace. So what you do is take the treble and put a little trace. So you just thread this trace onto the jig head, and just the same thing, the hook that's perpendicular to the eye goes into the body, and that's it. One other feature with this lure is the hookup percentage. So although this lure looks big in the water, it actually has a great hookup ratio, because the pike will always go for the body of the lure regardless of the really big tail movement in the water. So one tip I can give you is when you have a strike on this lure, because of the softness and the feel of this lure, pike will hold on to it. So when you have a strike, feel free to make like 1 second pause and then set the hook, and almost like most of the pikes you'll have hooked. So these are the Real Eels. You can retrieve it in as many ways as you want it. You can jig it, slow crawl it on the bottom, burn it, troll it, whatever you want to do. They will catch you pike. So get yourself some and have time with piking. So the Real Eels. Cheers.
Evo je, dobra. Prava je. Daj podmetač.
beautiful pike slammed the real eel, completely engulfed it. Totally inside of it. What a beautiful fish.
Jedno sam stvarno ove udice. Da, očito da nije bila ista.
Uh-oh, this is a big one. Check this massive fish taken on the Savage Gear reel eel.